Justin Walker, receive plate, Mr. Wes Killian.
What do we got here, boys? Slower. There it is. Yeah, do it.
Doom, ba-doo doo 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 ba-doo doo doo ba-doo doo doo ba-doo doo 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 ba-doo doo doo ba-doo doo doo ba-doo doo 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 ba-doo doo doo ba-doo doo doo ba-doo doo doo doo. Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. If there is a load you have to bear that you can't carry, I'm right up the road. I'll share your load if you just call me. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. Just might have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Call me when you need a friend, call me. Call me when you need a friend, call me. Call me when you need a friend, call me. Oh, baby, just call me when you need a friend, call me. I'm telling you, call me.
Excellent. Our first senior student address, Miss Kate Hollenbeck.
All right, we made it. Graduation. Boy, time sure flew by. It seems like just yesterday we were growing up with Laura Ingalls Wilder and Luke Skywalker. We listened and danced to Madonna and Michael Jackson. We played with Cabbage Patch Kids and the Church Lady and Rubik's Cube. We got our inspiration from Hans and Franz and the Church Lady. And now, class of 1994, we are graduating. As Bart Simpson might say, cowabunga. But before we get too excited, let me tell you about a book I recently read. The book is entitled 13th Gen, Abort, Retry, Ignore, or Fail, by Neil Howe and Bill Strauss. The gen is short for generation, and it turns out that people born between 1961 and 1981 are the 13th generation of Americans. That's us. These authors describe us as apathetic, violent, and generally without moral conviction. Our test scores are lower than our parents' generation. On a national basis, about 25% of students drop out of high school. Today's young Americans know less and care less about news and public affairs than any other generation in the past 50 years. As Edie Brickell, lead singer of the New Bohemians, sings in the song What I Am, I'm not aware of too many things. I know what I know if you know what I mean. The 13th gen is also impatient and materialistic. We all remember Madonna's Material Girl. We want the perfect body, clothes, car, and we want them right now. But our chances of actually acquiring these things are slim. According to the authors of 13th Gen, 1/4 of us won't even be able to find jobs. We are supposed to be the first generation of Americans not to surpass our parents' standard of living. The number of college graduates flipping burgers is increasing. As Bart might say, bummer, dude. By now you're probably thinking, hey, I'm graduating, Kate. Why are you depressing me with all this statistical drivel? Well, because we need to think about whether this book about us is right. Can this depressing profile of the 13th gen be changed? I found the answer to my question in a truly unlikely place, a math textbook. 13 is a prime number. Let me review math for a moment, for all the adults in the audience. Prime numbers are the building blocks of all numbers. Every number is the product of prime numbers, or is prime itself. Non-mathematically, prime means first rate, choice, or cool. We are a prime generation. My mathematical insight suggested to me that yes, the future can be changed. Because like prime numbers are building block numbers, our generation is a building block which will help shape and support future generations. We cannot afford to look into the future and accept our fate as unlucky, like most people think of the number 13. As we graduate tonight, we receive a responsibility, an opportunity, and a challenge. And I know, class of 1994, that we can rise to that challenge. I've grown up with you for the past 4 years here at Portage Central, and I know that we have the strength and the spirit and the drive to make our world better. The teachers and staff here at Portage Central have instilled in us the belief that we can make a difference. We can change things for the better. We can stand up to the things that we don't want in our world. So how are we going to pull off this gigantic task? We will take advantage of our talents. 13ers are independent. The same book that shows our weaknesses agrees that 13ers are mature and strong-minded. If we resolve to fix our world, we will do it. Also, we grew up and are more comfortable with more technology than any other generation. Have you ever played Super Mario Brothers or Pac-Man with someone from the 11th or 12th gen? It's embarrassing. We will harness technology for good, not war and destruction. We just finished 13 years of education. We have been exposed to more facts and knowledge than any other generation. We are on our way to the nation's top colleges and universities to learn even more. But besides these qualities, we need a plan. How can we change the world and show these guys that they're wrong about us? I suggest the following. For the next 13 years, after which we turn 31, which is not only 13 backwards, but it's also prime. For the next 13 years, each one of us needs to focus on our primeness. Remember that our actions have consequences. What we choose to do now will not only affect those around us, but a future generation of our children yet in the womb of time. Remember that some goals take a long time to achieve, so don't get impatient. Remember that we can say no to what is wrong and destructive. Every day we look in the mirror, we need to make sure that we can look ourselves in the eye, knowing that we have made responsible choices and decisions. Remember to have pride and honor in what we do. And in those 13 years, we will have made a difference. We will have a safer, happier, more peaceful society, and we will have provided for those 14ers and 15ers who aren't fortunate enough to be prime. And that is something to be proud of. As Bart might say after reading 13th Gen, don't have a cow, man. The class of 1994 has it all under control. Congratulations.
Superintendent Rickers, senior member of the board, Ms. Pat Dolan, other board members and their guests, friends and relatives of the class of 94, faculty, and all others interested in the welfare of the young men and women seated before me. I'd like to welcome you to Commencement 1994. My speech will not be a long one, as the class and I have had our moments together this morning. I think they understand real well exactly how I feel about them. They know my feelings are sincere. And for Portage, Michigan, for Portage Central High School, this group has brought great pride to this community, to their families, to our school. They are a real success story. They are winners, for sure. No, they are champions. In fact, academically, extracurricularly, community activities, in almost all things that they have participated in, they have always come close to being champions, and they have always done their very best to achieve success. As Kate stated, this generation is supposed to be the first generation that will not achieve the level of success as their parents. I don't believe it out of this group. There is no way this group will be successful, and they will be achievers. They have been role models for the underclassmen of Portage Central High School. They have been keepers of the peace. They have been a joy to work with. They're a great bunch of young men and women. However, they have had some help along the way. Their journey has been assisted by their parents, relatives, and friends. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the teaching staff for their challenges, custodial staff, maintenance staff for setting up this evening's activity, and for all other activities that these young people have participated in, for support staff, for the class advisors of the high school, for the senior class advisor, Mr. Doug Fuller, the assistant principals, Bonnie Neal and John Woodrow. And I would ask all of you to join with me in a round of applause for all of you people that have supported the class of 94. I'm sure that you've noticed that we did not have an invocation. So at this time, I believe that there's strength in numbers. I'm going to ask all of you to join with me in a moment of silence to meditate and give your thoughts to your higher power for the success of the class of 94. Thank you. I think your thoughts will help them as they journey into their future. Class of 94, may the wind be beneath your wings as you take to the future, and may your higher power look over you. Superintendent Rickers, senior member of the board, Ms. Pat Dolan, other members of the Board of Education, the young men and women seated before you have fulfilled the requirements as established by the Board of Education of the Portage Public Schools to be graduated from Portage Central High School. Class of 94, good luck. We love you, and we will miss you. You're great. Thank you. For the Board of Education response, Dr. John Schell, trustee of the Board of Education of the Portage Public Schools.
It's a privilege and a pleasure to welcome honored guests, relatives, friends, and graduates here, and all the friends of the Portage Public School System. It's a thrill to address all 240 of you graduating members of the Mustang Class of 94. With apologies to Mr. Louis Armstrong, I see grass of green and carnations too. I see them bloom for me and you. I see robes of blue and gold, clouds of white, brightness of day and darkness of night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Why does this earth seem so wonderful at this moment in time? On this evening, as we present and you receive your diplomas, we show off the product of Portage's public educational system. All 240 of you are living proof that Pink Floyd is wrong. We all do need an education. You're the living legacy of Thomas Jefferson's common school locally. You're a tribute to the fact that we all in common, graduates, friends, relatives, teachers, have not lost track of the value and fundamental purpose of public education. The world around you has been plagued by incalculable and seemingly insurmountable occurrences of hatred and chaos as you've grown up with us. You're therefore a great sight, enough to make me think the world still is wonderful. For as your achievements have stacked up, you've gained a unique viewpoint that this community and school system can provide. Your successes show ample proof of this class's quality makeup. State champions in forensics, leaders in drama and stage presentations in the area, award-winning artists, including a class-wide interest and expertise in shaving cream design, a band and orchestra that win awards and give pleasure, a flock of national merit scholars at the top of a significantly deep and broad group of academic achievers. You've produced a top-ranked soccer team, another undefeated football championship, the Greater Kalamazoo softball champs, as well as gaining championships in wrestling, track, golf, swimming, tennis, baseball, hockey, all during your tenure as Mustangs. Like the goalposts here at McCamley Field, most of what you've touched has turned to blue and gold. These performances and your skill developments have occurred in interesting times. Your school experience paralleled the issuance and subsequent hand-wringing over Mr. William Bennett's Nation at Risk report, issued as you barely got started in this public school system. The worry about your mere 180 days per year in school and the fact that you've spent but 9% of your lives total time in the classroom have preoccupied many and make some wonder if a class like 94 can really be so good. But your time spent here has been as frontline combatants against the world's chaos that H.G. Wells says education races against. You appear well prepared to keep us ahead in that race. The race environment has changed greatly since the first steps you took boarding the big yellow monsters on the way to kindergarten. That very fleet of buses has been completely replaced. A new superintendent took the helm of the district. More than half the teaching force has been renewed. The Kalamazoo Area Math and Science Center was created. A meaningful vocational educational program has flowered. A public commitment of $20 million to improve your school environment has been enacted. Local demographics in the face of Portage have changed greatly in your 13 years here at Portage Public Schools. Beyond Portage, the ebb and flow of good versus bad has continued nonstop in the world. Unification of Germany, and then a rise of the menacing isolationism. Glasnost in Russia, the popularity of an ugly nationalism. War and peace in the Middle East. Brutal war and famine in Yugoslavia, Rwanda, and Somalia. The age of knowledge is fully bloomed during your school careers here with attendant marvels and intellectual betterment, but at the same time a widening gulf of opportunity between the advantaged and the disadvantaged. Our ability to learn more and ask all the questions have led to a loss of heroes in your public domain. You've had no FDRs, MLKs, or JFKs to see and worship in your lifetime. Perhaps the personalities close to you have been your real heroes. With few in the public's eye worthy of hero classification, after close scrutiny, perhaps your heroes are close at hand, even in the stands tonight. The late Walker Percy was concerned about this lack of heroes and had a, quote, fear of seeing America and all its great strength and beauty and freedom gradually subsiding into decay through default, defeated from within, from weariness, boredom, cynicism, greed, and in the end, helpless. But despite the ebb and flow of world challenge and your lack of larger-than-life heroes, we think of the 240 individuals in the class of 94 and look at you collectively and still are able to think, what a wonderful world. This view is possible because in Portage you've grown up in a system that understands the most strategic resource in allowing future social opportunities is educated people. You know that education, completed here and that you'll gradually obtain, is the coming most pivotal issue for yourselves and the world you'll share. In your education here, excellence has become a habit for you. You are what you've repeatedly done. Collectively distinguished, each individual has contributed to making this class stand out and must continue if your class is to have a lasting and enduring presence beyond your years here. No matter your skill level, though, you need to understand that it's ordinary people who do extraordinary things. In different areas and with different styles, you'll all reach the future, according to C.S. Lewis, at 60 seconds per minute. And that means that you all have an equal chance to become our next generation's heroes. But you must do it individually with individual expression, as you've learned in the Portage Public Schools. Supreme Court Justice Robert Johnson warned that those who begin coercive elimination of dissent soon find themselves exterminating the dissenters. No official, high or petty, can prescribe what shall be orthodox politics, nationalism, religion, or other matters of opinion. And that applies to the political correctness of the left and censorship by the Christian right. We're confident that in your quest to make the class of 94's mark forever lasting, the job will get done. But remember that in the quest, much of the fullness of life exists. As you go along, you build a life in which you do many different kinds of things. But it will all have that common denominator that gives it sense and direction. The sense that your total activity is going to make a better situation for people to live in. You don't set goals and when you reach them, find that they equal happiness. The question should be, is it worth trying? Not can it be done? So now, as you're sent out to make that life and live that quest, you'll hear many voices. Listen to the right ones. Like Satchel Paige, who warned not to look over your shoulder because someone's always going to be gaining on you. Listen to the voice that tells you to achieve something better than you did as your best as a Mustang. Don't look back and say the best thing you ever accomplished was here at PC. Don't make your accomplishments at all costs, though. Listen to Grantland Rice as he analyzed life's quest. When the one great score comes to write against your name, he asks not whether you won or lost, but how you played the game. And I feel like John G. Kimney did when he said that the most dangerous voice you'll hear will be that of prejudice, the voice that divides. Listen to the voice of harmony, the one that will keep you making this a more wonderful world. Lastly, listen to the voice you've heard over and over again as public school students, the one that tells you to be good citizens. With that, I leave you class of 94 and wish you luck. And remember to be good citizens. Be good citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shelf. Our next choral selection, Be Forever Young, by Rachel Gadeas.
good Lord be with you down every road you roam. And may sunshine and happiness surround you when you're far from home. May you grow to be proud, dignified and true. And do unto others as you have it done to you. Be courageous and be brave. And in my heart you'll always stay forever young, forever young. May good fortune be with you, may your guiding light be strong. Build a stairway to heaven with a prince or a vagabond. May you never love in vain. And in my heart you will remain forever young, forever young. Can you put your hands together? When you finally fly away, I'll be hoping that I served you well. For all the wisdom of a lifetime, no one can ever tell. But whatever road you choose, I'm right behind you, win or lose, forever young, forever young, forever young, forever young. As we close this portion of our lives and begin the rest of our lives, I wish each of you all the best, and most importantly, stay forever young.
Great job, Rachel. She brought the train right through 40s, didn't she? I think it was Johnny Cash retiring again. And now for congratulatory remarks, Superintendent of the Portage Public Schools, Mr. Jim Rickers.
Graduation ceremonies are a time for reflection and a look into the future. Speaker after speaker steps to the podium, we think that'll never end, to offer advice and congratulations. It's an honor for me to add my congratulations to those others on the program this evening. And so that you're not disappointed by a lack of advice from this speaker, I'll share with you a very brief story about Zachary and Elizabeth Fisher. Zachary Fisher, an 82-year-old executive, and his wife Elizabeth have established and funded 10 guest houses near military hospitals to be used by families of patients in need of housing during extended hospital stays. When asked why they would give so much of themselves for the comfort of others, Zachary comments, "We make a living by what we earn, but we make a life by what we do for others." Research shows us that whether they donate time, money, or both, people who give of themselves through volunteering agree that helping makes them feel terrific. In addition, volunteers keep good company. Nationally, more than 1/2 of all Americans over 18 volunteer an average of 4 hours per week, which is up 23% since 1987. According to a 1993 study, Michigan residents contribute approximately 1.4 billion hours of time to community service. This volunteer time carries a labor value of approximately $16 billion. I would simply offer the following advice. As you plan for your future, consider sharing your talents with others. And to quote Zachary Fisher again, people aren't remembered for what they had. They're remembered for what they gave. Congratulations on your commencement, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rickers. Our next student address, Mr. Justin Walker.
Good evening. Friends, parents, honored guests, and of course, I can't forget the class of 1994. How do we begin to say goodbye? I don't know. I'm just shocked at the fact that we're graduating from high school, and with that is an emotional farewell to the spirit of our athletic games, pep assemblies, homecomings, and relationships that have been formed, some 13 years ago. For the past 13 years, school has been our reality, and the people at school, our family. What was this journey of 13 years all about? It was about building and carrying on the tradition of Mustang pride, starting with the early years, the building blocks, reading, writing, arithmetic, guided by many loving and caring, dedicated teachers. Then we moved into middle school, the confusing years. We actually started liking the people who had cooties. Wow! Quite a social change. Our horizons were expanded once again by caring teachers. And then began our high school years. I feel privileged to have been a part of the class of 1994. What did we accomplish? And what were the lessons taught and the lessons learned? How about our football team being conference champs and state qualifiers every single year? Our soccer teams, guys and girls, with winning records consecutively year after year. Our wrestling team with their hard work and dedication, cleaning up the competition year after year. Our band, under the direction of Mr. Flynn, winning competitions, getting first ratings, and gaining respect for the community year after year. Our art program, producing national pieces of art, 2 of which are hanging in Washington, D.C. Their quality is present year after year. Our musicals and plays and forensics that have been successful year after year after year. I might add that our forensics team shattered all the previous records of sweepstake points won in state competition in becoming the state champs. I was privileged to be a part of 2 productions under the direction of Mrs. Muley. South Pacific last year and Fiddler on the Roof this year. Were these fluffy musicals that meant nothing? I threw up before every production of Fiddler on the Roof this year. Thank you. I learned something about myself. I gained a belief and confidence in myself that under all those pressures, I could still do it. These productions dealt with racial and religious prejudice. Thousands of lives are lost each year to racial and religious prejudice. We must learn to be tolerant. Lessons taught and lessons learned at Portage Central High School. I was also privileged to be part of our outstanding football program. What were the lessons taught and lessons learned? Well, starting in the summer months of July, we were challenged and pushed to do our best every drill, every play, every second. Walker, we don't have that play where you do absolutely nothing. Coach Knight would remind me every once in a while. I think that play doesn't exist in the real world either. We were pushed and challenged every day in practice in becoming one of the best teams in the state of Michigan. I remember at our last football dinner when each player stood to speak about the season, I started to break down in front of everyone. These emotions I felt were real, about camaraderie, a struggle of being your best, and becoming a member of family, the Mustang family. We will never forget our experiences in football. May the mighty Mustangs ride forever, guided by our gallant knights. We all hear a familiar sound scuffing down the hall saying, "Hello!" You call him Mr. Walker? I just call him Dad. Student Council has grown under the advice of Mr. Walker for the last 29 years, and I was privileged to be a part of it for my 4 years in high school. I was your vice president last year and president this year. In that room, we learned how to deal with each other, with problems and disagreements, to make the best decisions for our school. We learned governmental procedures, money management, and most importantly, how to work with each other through communication, compromise, and hard work. With all these things, I thank God, I thank the teachers, and I thank the class of 1994. May the class of 1994 reach beyond ourselves to accomplish our dreams and our individual potential. That it might be said that the world be a better place because of the class of 1994. Finally, I thank Portage Central High School and all the people involved to make our experience here a treasure that will never be lost or forgotten. This is it, class of 1994. I love you all. Our final farewell. You may ask, how did we keep our balance? That I can tell you in one word. Tradition. The tradition of Portage Central High School. May it live on forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Justice. Our next choral selection, When It Is Time to Go, by Mr. Pat Dunham.
In my eyes, this song represents everything that a graduating senior could possibly ask his parents. Tears may crash to the ground today, but all of our dreams will soar above the rest. But only when it's time to go. There's nothing new in this old town. The sun comes up and heads back down, working hard from dawn to dusk again. I'm 18 and have a heart for change. Those byways are calling out my name, but not yet. There's too much going on. 'Cause Daddy needs a hand, and Mama's tender heart might crumble to the ground. And though they'd understand, I felt like saying, when it's time to go, you've got to let me go away and face the world. Say goodbye, cry some tears, don't worry. When I hit the city, I'll build you a house right down the street from mine. Have some faith in me and I'll show you why. Some years later, late one night, beginning trying to dry his eyes, I realized what I was born to do. I said I'll always be your son, though you know what's going on. It's the hard thing to think of leaving you. But this world needs a hand, and I've got just the things they need to make it through. Though it's clear to me, and I know what's coming, when it's time to go, you've got to let me go away and face the world. Say goodbye, cry some tears, don't worry. When I hit the city, I'll build you a house right down the street from mine. Have some faith in me and I'll show you why. And as he tore his flesh like animals, there were those I know who felt him say, when it's time to go, you've got to let me go away and save the world. Say goodbye, cry some tears, don't worry. When I hit the city, I'll build you a house right down the street from mine. Have some faith in me and I'll show you why. When it's time to go, you've got to let me go away and save the world. Say goodbye, cry some tears, don't worry. When I hit the city, I'll build you a house right down the street from mine. Have some faith in me and I'll show you why. When it's time to go, you got to let me go away and save the world. Say goodbye, cry some tears, don't worry. When I hit the city, I'll build you a house right down the street from mine. Have some faith in me and I'll show you why. Class of 1994. It's definitely time to go.
Thank you, Pat. I'm sure that by the speeches you've heard and by the music you've heard, you can recognize why the class of 1994 is one of the most outstanding and talented groups to go through this school. Like I said before, they're a great group, and I think they're ready for their diplomas. The first diploma will be awarded to Daniel Lee Rollinson. The diplomas this evening are being presented by Senior Board Member Ms. Pat Dolan and Dr. John Schell. Denton Clayton Beatty. I would ask everybody to hold their applause until the end of the awarding of the diplomas, please, so that all will have the opportunity to have their name be heard. William Payne Webster, Jr. Thank you. Jason Balmer. Justin Ernest Walker. Megan Danielle Smith. Megan Emily Bonema. Kate Hollenbeck. Sarah Lynn Bilesma. Benan Fon. Gregory Anthony Coos. Wesley Robert Killian. Marcus Goomba Cronin. Rachel Dawn Cadeas. Casey Elizabeth Lamarund. Stephen Slates. Lucio Regis. Patrick Michael Dunham. Lucio, I think that should have been Hedges. Matthew Lewis Collins. Ryan Matthew Colsar. Jason Matthew Lamb. Kurt Charles Bucher. Adam Richard Shell. Sabina Lockman. Martha Molstad. Jennifer Lynn Willinga. Jessica Lynn Vleek. Carissa Marie Van Heest. Matt Zablocki. Ethan Engerhorn. Amy Lorraine Mosier. Christy Lynn Biringa. Andy Terry. Elizabeth Aaron Kashnowitz. Angela Christine Hardy. James Johnson West. Ryan James Whitcomb. Chad Hoaxema. Jack Gene Robertson Jr. Kevin Hemstreet. Ben McClish. Brad Sweet. Pete Stoddard. Brett Robbins. Eric Hansen. Veronica Ann Buckley. Jennifer Maria Jewett. Laura Lynn Graham. Ian Emery Frederick Kendall. Gregory Paco Dinda. Thomas Casey Pauley. Chrissy Marie Nyhart. Sean Jeffrey Ness. Amber Dawn Lindsay. Jamie Lucille Mendez. Stacy Boslich. Jennifer Elizabeth Shannon Terry. Maxine Elaine Ingersoll. Melody Garton. Shara DePoy. Matt Viviano. Larry David Lambert. Stephen William Lott. Matthew Scott Rabb. Bradley Allen Griffune. Todd William Earl. Mitchell Clark, Thomas Lee Kelly, Stephen James Christensen, Heidi Marie Taylor, Ross Allen Huckamacki, Paul Armstrong, Tobin Lynn Bannister, Edward Harley Cottle, Sonia Arlene Evans, Tina Lynn Goins, Richard J. Evans II, Laurel Amanda Pitt, Nicole Catherine Richa, Lisa Ann Kimberly, Tiffany Marie Hoekstra, Rebecca Jane Bozick, Micah Maria Paris, Siobhan Eileen Norvin, Brian William Harlow, Katie Ward, Melanie Ann Maxwell, Heather Vest, Tyler Owen Eddy, Dina Trudeau, Jessica Lee Coos, Lisa Maureen Schaefer, Amy Michelle Blood, Cindy K. Terpstra, Denise K. Lapointe, Jill Marie Lombard, Jessica Ann Euler, Kristen Renee Freeland, Laureen Jeanette Bell, Carla Tina Diaz, Julia Flores, Tammy Lynn Manac, Andrew Dalton, Michael Matthew A. Rogers, Andrew Harris, Douglas Ronald Verba, Jesse Reinhardt, Eric Marn Slager, Jeffrey Lowell Houston, Larry Chow, Kevin Pike, Matthew Smart, Deidre Ann Battizi, Susan Fernie, Jason Michael Barker, Gwendolyn Beth Unser, Debbie Lynn Dykema, Shannon Lee Payne, Robert Allen Porter, Amy Marie Watson, Theresa Nadine Shane, Valerie Jane Schrock, Kimberly Lynn Maxon, Barbara Michelle Layson, Jeremy Allen Thompson, Melinda Louise Betts, Andrea Lynn Bova, Jason Bradley McIntyre, Joel Case Miller, Amanda Ann Warner. Sabrina Elizabeth Goff. Stephen Smith Brittigan. Paul Cameron Walker. Jamie Lynn Bodnar. Angela Marie Dove. Emily Kristen Anastasia Kovac. Kristen Marie Hansen. Mandy Holland. Carrie Lorene Crawford. Karen Lynn Kruger. Keith Edward Myers. Suzette Lynn Yax. Leanne Elizabeth Lackey. Michelle Marie Clark. Maisa Wells. David Michael James. Adrian Sugar. Christopher Johnson Clark. Brian Paul Maston. Aaron Richard Keller. John David Garling. Jennifer Middleton. Misty Landis McKeno. Thanks a lot, Jamie. Jamie Button. James Paul Clark. Michael Kapp. Matt Goodhouse. Tori Lynn Pope. Tanya Lee Wall. Jennifer Gail Wilsey. Sarah Elizabeth Hutchins. Pamela Elizabeth Blaine. Melanie Ann True. Stephen Vanderby. Brian Allen Lingus. Ronald Joseph Martin. Robert John Faree. Michael David Moreland. Todd Robert Kuchera. Jonathan Walter Lancaster. Adam Dwayne Drake. Jason Mark Brockler. Johann Andre Mogel. Jennifer Lynn Shaw. Timothy David Richards. Peter David Levin. Chad Michael Wakefield. Mark Christopher Jackson. Tamer Mohammed Fahmy. Richard Scott Ernsberger III. Bradley Darren Block. Patrick Sean McNally. Scott William Thrasher. Elizabeth Kathleen Hoagie. Wendy Ann Brennan. Eddie Wang. Christian Bromfield. Sherry Kurtz. Elaine Foster. Amy Renee Shanley. Susan Marie Kraska. Corey Diane Kustra. Rena Kumari Valvani. Ryan Richardson. David B. Lyons. Christopher Thomas Wright. David Christopher Beaver. Clay Eugene Hendricks Smith. Julie Ann Hamilton. Mindy Lynn Huff. Danielle Suzanne Thompson. Amanda Renee Meffner. Kristen Marie Meeker. Wendy Ann Lopez.
Elizabeth Kazire, Heather Lynn Fields, Jill Marie Cuttinger, Tara Beth Kramer, Mary Angela Clark, Benjamin Frank Rush, John Christopher Borges, Krista Marie Pickett, Dawn Witz, Stephanie Ann Sakandi, Heather K. Paul, Sarah Ann Wells, Kimberly Jean Wessling, Michael Denise Wood, Brandy Lynn Rogers, Kelly Ann Fike, Tina Marie Captain, Stephanie Aaron Smith, Paul Matthew Brady Pippick, Michelle Lynn McCulfer, Sean M. Williams, Jamie Bilgem, Yvonne Tweedell, Eric Mark Olson, Richard Ward Dennis, Nicholas Simon Strauss, Carl H. Tiedemann, Angel Angel Rivera, Eric John Johnson, Scott King Manis, Richard Lee Bratton, Paul Stephen Harger, Paul Witters, ladies and gentlemen, there you have the outstanding graduation class 1994